Norris and another party took turns raping her. Mr. Norris killed her with 2 hammer blows to the head.
Have you ever seen that young lady in person?
No, sir.
You ever taken any photographs of this young lady?
No, sir.
If she was bound and gagged, as Mr. Norris states, she wouldn't be able to hit me. She was paid to make certain responses. She was having difficulty following those directions. I cannot explain the actions of a intoxicated individual who's on PCP. She's saying, "Don't touch me." She's not screaming, she's not crying, she's not sobbing. Mr. Norris was interested in having the sounds of domination or fear. I wanted some sounds of pillow talk or kind of dirty talk. I just told her I liked hearing that type of thing, and I didn't have a tape at that time of such a thing, so I asked her if she would make one for me.
He was the perfect nurse's aide until he was convicted of murder.
I consider myself a nice person, a caring person.
His confession led to countless exhumations, 58 victims, some injected with cleaning fluid and rat poison. Donald Harvey, the most puzzling serial killer of our time. The Angel of Death this weekend on most Fox stations.
Yeah, we will.
What have you been arrested for? You ever been arrested before?
Danny, where's your car?
Never been arrested before in L.A.?
My fourth went down.
When? How long ago? Sit up. How long ago?
Let's get all these things.
What's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
11. Back up on the sidewalk, please. Go back. Back up on the sidewalk.
Some dates that she had to go to the
I'm News Channel 5's Lauren Victory. This just in, information on the suicide of Israel Keys. He's the man police say killed Bill and Lorraine Courier of Essex, as well as 6 others across the United States. The medical examiner has ruled Keys' death as suicide. Authorities say he used a razor blade embedded in a pencil to cut his wrist, then used bedding from his jail cell to strangle himself. This suicide happened overnight between Saturday and Sunday morning. We have also information that blood-soaked paper was found in his jail cell. Again, Israel Keys' death has been ruled as suicide, and we'll have more information tonight on WPTC.
Good evening. We begin with a heartbreaking plea almost 40 years in the making from the best mate of Richard Kelvin, the teenage boy murdered by Bevan Spencer von Einem in 1983.
It was a horrific crime forever etched in the minds of South Australians, and tonight there's a fresh push to unmask key suspects in the notorious family murders.
It's a moment frozen in time for Carl Brooks. It was at this O'Connell Street bus stop 38 years ago that he waved his final goodbye to his best friend.
I still have nightmares. I still have thoughts that haunt me.
He's spent every day since looking over his shoulder, and today for the first time he's returned to the scene. It was in this laneway that 15-year-old Richard Kelvin was abducted, then drugged, held captive and tortured for 5 weeks. His body later discovered in the foothills.
He's such a good kid. He had such a life ahead of him. It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Richard Kelvin's death was one of 5 linked to the so-called family murders, a series of sex killings in the late 70s and early 80s.
Alan Barnes, Neil Muir, Mark Langley and Peter Stogneff.
Carl Brooks was a Crown witness in the case that eventually saw Richard's killer, Bevan Spencer von Einem, jailed for life.
It's what they did to him. It's horrible. That's probably what haunts me the most.
He now has his sights set on the justice system. He's being interviewed for a new book, calling on court secrecy orders on key suspects to finally be lifted.
They were put on at the time to protect reputations or to protect the integrity of a trial. That no longer is the case. There is no trial mooted.
While several suspects were unmasked by the courts in 2019, secrecy orders remain on more than a dozen others. At this stage, Major Crime says it won't be reviewing the remaining orders.
Some of the worst crimes committed against children, and people are still suppressing the suspects.
Why are they unsolved? I think they are solvable.
If not for closure, then for justice.
I always feel like he's looking over me, looking after me.
Hannah Ford, 7 News.